The caregiver is that person, in my case it's my spouse, who's helping me along, keeping me on track, and giving me somebody that I can talk to. And whether it's a friend or a spouse or something like that, that's an important person in your life, and you need to remember that. It's something you probably forget sometimes.
So many people from so many different areas emailed me, sent cards, sent packages, sent food, sent gifts, sent prayers. I even had a friend that would come every day after school and walk me down the driveway because the surgery was so uncomfortable. I couldn't walk well.
My goodness, if I hadn't had friends and family, I could never have gotten through this. I mean, credit the doctors first, but after that, after the doctors are gone, it's friends and family. And blessedly, I have a wonderful friend who fed me. She and her sister-in-law cooked for me and my husband for almost 2 months after my surgery. Every night, 6 o'clock, dinner at my house she brought to me.
Each time I go to a doctor's appointment, I take somebody with me. So the first appointment, my husband went with me and my daughter-in-law. And my husband he has a hard time with all of this. So now I've gone with my son, I've gone with my daughter. They can take information in much easier than myself and my husband, who is too emotionally involved with it.
My caregiver, my wife, I'm fortunate in that she was a clinical lab scientist, and she spent 30 years of her life studying everybody else's blood. And now, when I get my results back, she's looking at that. And when we're going into the doctor, we're sitting down the day or so beforehand, and we're saying, okay, this is going on, we need to talk about this. We need to say what's happening here. I mean, I hear one thing, my wife hears another, and then we go back and compare what we just talked about or what we think we heard.
It's just, you can't do it by yourself. You just can't do it by yourself, and you'd like to think you can, but sometimes you have to ask for help.
I'd say the single best thing I ever did during my discovery of neuroendocrine tumor treatments and doctors was to join a support group. Now, I'm not a support group kind of person, but I figured I could go once and see if it was the type of group where everybody sits around and cries all day. I don't want to do that. And it was at the local wellness community. And I went for the first appointment, or the first meeting, and I realized that the room was full of people just like me.
Well, our support group was established as an internet group. We started out with internet connection and grew from that. And now we're covering, I think we have 3 states represented in our group. We generally have a guest speaker. We've had a dietitian come and speak. That was a wonderful session that she did. This last group meeting that we had, one of my surgeons attended, and of course he was a wealth of information about some of the current studies that are going on. We look forward to the meetings. I mean, I look forward to seeing everybody and seeing how they've improved and see if we've got new people in, which is, I'm sorry that they're there, but I'm glad that they're there.
The support group that I joined in Northern California, they meet every other month. Now we meet over in a place called Walnut Creek, California. We have a meeting. Usually it starts on a Saturday afternoon about 1 o'clock, and it's about 4 hours. We try and have some time for new patients that are coming in. We also have our caregivers in a lot of cases come along and give them a chance to talk to somebody else about us so that they can kind of get a little break from it.
And sometimes it's just good to know that somebody knows what you're talking about when you're saying, my scar hurts.
So if you do look for a support group, try and find one that deals in any of the neuroendocrine tumors. And it's worth the time and the effort to travel and see them. I would say probably almost every state now has probably at least one support group. And if you can't get to them, there's a couple of internet support groups that you can go to.
You talk to somebody who's lived through it. You can get that from people who've been there. You know, been there, done that thing. They have.
In 2000, after I got involved with a support group and I found out about some of the national conferences, that kind of piqued my interest. And I thought, well, why don't we go see what a few of those are like? And I've done about 4 of them. I went to one in Minnesota and heard some of the speakers there, saw all the data and information coming out, and all the stuff they were putting out on new procedures and those kinds of things. So after you've been to one of them, then you think, well, gee, maybe the next one might just have another little kernel.
My son and daughter insisted 3 weeks after this surgery that I go to Philadelphia to a neuroendocrine tumor carcinoid convention. And then I met somebody else from Texas, and I met somebody else from Michigan who were doing just fine. We were happy, telling jokes, but all of us had cancer. It was such an eye-opener. The conference, I have been going to them ever since, because there's something new out there, cutting edge, that I want to know about in case I need it.